There's still on the property. Please, Michael, please stay inside. Alive!
The Godfather Part II is Sicily in 1921.
The sequel that won Best Picture, defied the studio, and almost starred Martin Scorsese nearly didn't happen at all. The star threatened to quit, the director wanted to walk away, and Hollywood executives called the concept box office suicide. Welcome to Primetime Throwback. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the film that redefined what a sequel could be. The Godfather Part II, released in 1974.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
A revolutionary film that dared to be both sequel and prequel, tracking Michael's moral descent alongside his father Vito's rise to power. Stick around because one of these 12 facts reveals the scene Al Pacino didn't act. He lived it. Fact number 1. After The Godfather's massive success, Francis Ford Coppola had a radical idea that terrified studio executives. He wanted to make a film that was both a sequel and a prequel. But here's the kicker. Coppola didn't even want to direct it. Coppola had such a miserable experience making the first film that he suggested an up-and-coming director take the helm while he produced. His choice? Martin Scorsese, fresh off Mean Streets. Paramount flatly rejected Scorsese. Just imagine that alternate reality, where the man behind Goodfellas directed The Godfather Part II instead. Would it have been grittier, faster, bloodier? One thing's for sure. Michael Corleone's silence wouldn't have lasted nearly as long. Coppola eventually agreed to direct after receiving unprecedented creative control, a Mercedes-Benz limousine as a peace offering, and double the budget. Fact number 2. Robert De Niro spoke only 17 words of English in the entire film. He spent 4 months in Sicily learning the regional dialect for the role. De Niro's dedication didn't stop there. He gained weight and even wore a custom dental appliance to recreate Brando's jaw structure. This commitment earned De Niro the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, making Vito Corleone the only character in film history to earn 2 different actors' Oscars for the same role. Fact number 3. Marlon Brando was scheduled to appear in the final flashback scene showing Vito's surprise birthday party. But when filming day arrived, Brando was nowhere to be found. After winning the Oscar for The Godfather, Brando had sent Native American activist Sachin Littlefeather to refuse the award. Paramount publicly distanced themselves from Brando's political statement, infuriating the actor. When time came to film his cameo, Brando simply didn't show up, forcing Coppola to hastily rewrite the scene overnight. This actually enhanced the film's power. Seeing the family gathered without Vito made Michael's isolation at the end even more haunting. Fact number 4. The Godfather Part II nearly collapsed before filming even began when Al Pacino threatened to quit entirely. Pacino's lawyers informed Coppola that Al had grave misgivings about the script and wasn't coming. Coppola spent an entire night rewriting the screenplay to appease his star. What few people know is that Pacino later admitted he didn't actually hate the original script that much. He was simply leveraging for more creative input and a higher salary. The strategy worked. Pacino earned $500,000 plus 10% of the profits, compared to the mere $25,000 he received for the first film. If you're learning something new about the greatest sequel ever made, hit that like button and drop a comment saying, Fredo deserved better, if you think Michael went too far, or family first, if you think Michael made the right choice. And subscribe to Primetime Throwback for more iconic film breakdowns just like this one. Fact number 5. The Godfather Part II was the first major American movie to ever use a numerical title. Today that sounds ridiculous, but in 1974 it was revolutionary. Paramount executives fought against using Part II, believing audiences would dismiss it as an inferior cash grab. They preferred something like The Godfather Continues, but Coppola insisted that Part II would signal this wasn't just a sequel, but a continuation of a single epic story. Coppola won the battle, and his seemingly minor victory changed Hollywood forever. Rocky II, Terminator 2, and every numbered sequel since owe their title format to The Godfather Part II. Fact number 6. The film's dual narrative structure, jumping between young Vito's rise and Michael's moral fall, is now celebrated as revolutionary. but it almost killed the movie before release. Test audiences were baffled by the constant timeline shifts. Critics at early screenings called it disorienting and an over-ambitious mess. With just 3 weeks before the premiere, Coppola frantically recut the film, reducing the number of transitions between timelines. Even with these adjustments, the film opened to mixed reviews before gradually being recognized as the masterpiece we know today. Now here's a question for real Godfather fans. Why is Peter Clemenza, the lovable but deadly capo from the first film, mysteriously absent from Part 2? The official story says he died of a heart attack, but the real answer has been debated for decades. Fact number 7. Behind the scenes, actor Richard Castellano was written out after demanding control over his dialogue and a higher salary. His widow later disputed this, claiming creative differences were the real reason. In a brilliant twist, replacement character Frank Pentangeli, played by Michael V. Gazzo, earned an Oscar nomination, competing against Robert De Niro in the same category. Fact number 8. One of the most chilling characters is aging Jewish mobster Hyman Roth, played by legendary acting teacher Lee Strasberg. This was Strasberg's first film role ever, at age 73. As the founder of the actor's studio and teacher to both De Niro and Pacino, Strasberg was convinced to take the role by his famous students. The character was based on real-life mob financier Meyer Lansky, who reportedly saw the film and told Strasberg afterward, "You could have made me a little more sympathetic." Fact number 9. The film's Cuban Revolution scenes weren't just dramatic invention, they were based on real history that changed American organized crime forever. The Havana Conference depicted, where mob bosses carve up a cake shaped like Cuba, was inspired by the real 1946 Havana Conference, where Meyer Lansky and other mob leaders plotted to turn Cuba into their own personal Las Vegas. They actually did bribe Cuban President Fulgencio Batista, just as shown in the film. Coppola had always been fascinated by the parallels between revolutions and crime families. In Havana, Michael isn't just watching history, he's watching his future collapse. As Castro's forces destroy the mob's empire overnight, Michael sees a mirror of his own inevitable downfall. Power, whether political or criminal, is always temporary. Fact number 10. The most devastating betrayal in the film, Fredo turning against Michael, has spawned endless debate. Did Fredo actually know he was setting Michael up to be killed? Or was he just trying to matter to someone, anyone who would make him feel important? The film offers a subtle answer through one brilliant prop detail: the open bedroom drapes during the assassination attempt. Only someone familiar with the house's layout would know. Those drapes needed to be open for a clear shot. And Fredo was one of the few who knew the bedroom arrangement. And when Michael says, "You broke my heart," he means it. But it was already broken long before the shot. John Cazale, the man behind Fredo, gave us cinema's most tragic sibling betrayal. In his short life cut short by lung cancer at 42, he only made 5 films, all nominated for Best Picture, a record that still stands today. Bonus fact. The ship that brings young Vito to America shows the Statue of Liberty in a historically impossible way. Throughout the film, the statue appears as a symbol of the American dream, always visible but somehow out of reach. When young Vito first sees it, he views it through the bars of his quarantine cell. It's a visual metaphor for the entire Corleone saga. The promise of legitimate success in America remains just out of reach, visible but unattainable. Bonus fact number 2. The flashback dinner scene that closes the film features a power move by James Caan, who played Sonny Corleone. To reprise his role for this single scene, Caan demanded the exact same salary he was paid for the entire first Godfather film, and Paramount paid it. Fast forward 50 years, prequels, dual timelines, anti-heroes. You've seen it all before, but it started right here. Nearly 50 years later, The Godfather Part II's influence still dominates filmmaking. Every prequel that explores a villain's origin story, from Joker to Star Wars, owes a debt to how Coppola revealed Vito's rise. Modern prestige TV like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul borrowed its dual timeline structure to show how good men break bad. But what truly makes this film immortal is how it shows the American dream's dark side. Michael Corleone's isolation speaks to our modern crisis of success without fulfillment, of achieving everything while losing what matters most. The Godfather Part II shows us two paths. Vito builds a family through loyalty, while Michael destroys one through paranoia. America itself is a contradiction, a land of opportunity built on broken promises, where success often comes at an unbearable moral cost. I'm your host, and this has been Primetime Throwback. Was Michael's downfall inevitable, or did he choose it? What would you have done if you were in Fredo's shoes? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you want the full story of the Hollywood legend who almost replaced Pacino as Michael Corleone, subscribe, because next week, we're exposing the studio's secret plan to replace Pacino and the screen test that left Coppola stunned. Let's just say, history almost chose a very different Michael Corleone.